Curry. Good evening. This is the Atlanta Citizen Review Board, and tonight's meeting is a special call meeting. Today is Tuesday, January the 25th, 2022, and the time has been delayed. It's currently 5:51 p.m. The ACRB special call meeting is now called to order. The purpose of this meeting is to specifically address and reduce the number of cases that are backlogged. We will also be meeting again this coming Thursday in another special call meeting for the same purpose. That is this coming Thursday. The agenda is very abbreviated, consisting of only roll call, public comments, and case reviews, followed by adjournment. ACRB has had 23 virtual meetings to date and 7 special call meetings. Tonight is our first special call meeting for 2022. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to listen in tonight. I know that some of you are also following us on YouTube. Thank you very much. Before we call the roll, it is important to know that because this is a special call meeting, only a quorum is required to conduct business. The members present tonight have all volunteered to participate in these extra meetings, and special call meetings are in addition to our regularly scheduled board meetings. On behalf of the chair and I, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Since we've had a quorum, let's get started with the roll call. Germaine Austin.
Hello, this is Germaine Austin. I'm here representing the Gate City Bar Association.
Thank you, Germaine. Keith Hasson.
Good afternoon. It's Keith Hasson, appointed by the Atlanta Bar Association.
Tamara Orange.
Good evening. My name is Tamara Orange, and I'm the appointee for the Georgia Coalition of the People's Agenda.
Thank you, Ms. Orange. Leah Pulliam.
Good evening. My name is Leah Pulliam. I represent the Urban League of Greater Atlanta.
Perfect. Dr. Michael Woodard.
Good evening. Michael Woodard here. I'm representing APAB. I'm appointed by APAB, representing NPUs G through L.
Has Gloria Hawkins-Wynn joined us yet? It seems not. Okay, yes. Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you,
evening, Madam Vice Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you so
Madam
much.
Vice Chair, are you able to?
I can hear you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Hawkins-Wynn.
Thank you
Can
for
you hear
holding.
me okay?
Very well. Thank you for holding for me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. There are 7 members present tonight. However, only 6 members will be voting. As the presiding chair, I will not be voting unless there is a need to break a tie. Are there any public comments this evening?
Madam Chair, we have one public comment.
Good evening, ACRB. I would just like to thank you guys for all the vital information that you have on your website. It's very helpful. Thank you guys for all the hard work that you do for us citizens out here. Appreciate you. Thanks, guys.
Madam Chair, that concludes public comments.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate the public comments. They help inform the Citizen Review Board, and we really like your public comments, so please keep them coming. Just a little side note, this is a new process for me, and I want to let you know that I appreciate your patience and your understanding as we get through the complaint process. It's also very important for it. I'm sorry. Okay. It is also very important for everyone to know that the board's review of the complaints and the investigator's recommendation includes a review of a very detailed and comprehensive report. And the investigative file, which includes all evidence obtained during the investigation, such as statements, body-worn camera footage, medical records, radio transmission, etc. And all of this information is gathered and organized by the investigative staff and received by the board weeks in advance of our meeting. That gives us ample enough time to thoroughly review the case file before voting. When the board sustains a decision, it is based upon the preponderance of the evidence standard, meaning at least 51% of the evidence shows that the alleged actions are more likely than not occurred. Tonight, we have two cases. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into our case reviews, which is the first case up is case number 20-025 with investigator Ronald Jackson. The complainant alleged that on March 22nd, 2020, Atlanta police officers Harold King, Evan Clausen, and Sergeant Davis failed to take appropriate action in that they failed to make an arrest when they responded to her 911 burglary call. Secondly, the complainant further alleged that officers King, Clausen, and Sergeant Davis showed a lack of courtesy in that they called her a liar, were condescending, and rude. The staff recommendation of the allegation of appropriate action required. The first, that the complainant alleged that officers King, Clausen, and Sergeant Davis failed to take appropriate action in that they refused to make an arrest. Based on the evidence obtained during the investigation, the ACRB staff recommends the allegation of appropriate action required against officers Harold King, Evan Clausen, and Sergeant Davis be assigned a finding of exonerated. The alleged act occurred, but were justified within police department policy.
Madam Chair, Vice Chair, excuse me. This is Investigator Jackson. And
Yes.
I just want to humbly let you know there is a slight correction that needs to be noticed in this particular case.
Yes.
In this particular case, Madam Vice Chair, when you look at the complaint summary, it states Sergeant Jonathan Smith. That is a correction. It should be Sergeant John Davis, and it is John Davis throughout the entire report. Just wanted to bring that to the board's attention.
Yes, thank you so much, Investigator Jackson. We did discuss that earlier, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will go in the motion to reject or accept staff's recommendation.
Vice Chair McDaniel, Gloria Hawkins-Wynn is waiting to speak.
Jackson.
Vice Chair recognizes Gloria Hawkins-Wynn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Would also like you to be somewhat lenient with me. I'm actually from my phone. There was some technical difficulty, but I move that the board moves to accept the findings of the investigative staff.
Oh, thank you so much, Ms. Hawkins-Wynn, and we can hear you clearly. Is there a second, please?
Sure.
Vice Chair, Board Member Pulliam is waiting to speak. Please unmute your mic.
Vice recognizes Board Member Pulliam.
Yes, thank you. I second.
Thank you for that second, Board Member Pulliam. Is there any discussion?
Vice Chair, I see no discussion.
Since there is no discussion, we will call for a vote. Germaine Austin, how do you vote?
Yay.
Keith Hasson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Tamara Orange, how do you
Yes.
vote?
Yes.
Leah Pulliam, vote.
Yes.
Dr. Michael Woodard, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, how do you vote?
Yes.
May I get the tally, please?
Madam Chair, out of 6 possible votes, we have 6 yes votes.
The vote is unanimous and it passes to exonerate Officer Harold King, Evan Clausen, and Sergeant Davis for the appropriate action required. Perfect. The next allegation is conduct. The issue is the complainant alleged that Officers King, Clausen, and Sergeant Davis showed lack of courtesy in that they called her a liar, were condescending, and rude. Based upon the evidence obtained during the investigation, the ACRB staff recommends that the allegation of conduct against Officers Harold King, Evan Clausen and Sergeant Davis be assigned a finding of unfounded. The investigation proved acts did not happen. Perfect. May I get a motion to accept or reject staff's recommendation, please?
Vice Chair McDaniel, Board Member Orange is waiting to speak. Please unmute your mic.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Orange.
I move that we accept staff recommendation.
Thank you so much. May I get a second, please?
Vice Chair, Board Member Pulliam is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Pulliam.
Yes, thank you. I move to second.
Thank you, Board Member Pulliam. Is there any discussion?
Vice Chair, Board Member Hawkins-Wynn is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Hawkins-Wynn.
Please unmute your mic. Board Member, please unmute your mic.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Board Member Hawkins-Wynn, what is your comment?
It was an error. It was an error. My hand was raised. It was an error.
Okay, thank you so much. Could you thank you very much. Any further discussion, please?
Vice Chair, I see no further discussion at this time.
Since we have no further discussion, we're going to call for the vote. Germaine Austin, what is your vote?
Yes.
Keith Hasson, what is your vote?
Yes.
What is your vote?
Yes.
Pulliam, what is your vote?
Yes.
Dr. Woodard, what is your vote?
Yes.
Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, how do you vote?
Yes.
All the votes are in. May we get a tally, please?
Madam Chair, out of 6 possible votes, we have 6 yes votes.
6 yes votes, motion passes to sustain, to find the allegations against Officers Harold King, Evan Clausen, and Sergeant Davis as unfounded. Thank y'all so much. And we will go to the next case, which is case number 20-073. The female complainant alleged that on October the 12th, 2020, while at Hyde Kitchen and Cocktails, Atlanta PD officer Roshine McKeithen, number 1, failed to intervene in a timely manner when a security guard at the establishment physically assaulted her. Number 2, failed to complete a report documenting the alleged assault. The female complainant further alleged that officers Christopher Frazier and Harcourt Fakuasan, who responded to the scene, conducted an inadequate investigation into said incident. The staff recommends that the issue against allegation of appropriate action required. The issue is that the complainant alleged that Officer McKeithen failed to intervene in a timely manner when club security guard Quinn Mobley physically assaulted her. Based on the evidence obtained during the investigation, the ACRB staff recommends that the allegation of appropriate action required related to this allegation against Officer Roshine McKeithen be assigned of not sustained. The investigation failed to prove or disprove the alleged acts occurred. Now, may I get a vote, a motion to accept or reject the staff's recommendation, please?
Vice Chair McDaniel, Board Member Hawkins-Wynn is waiting to speak.
Chair recognizes Board Member Hawkins-Wynn.
Yes, ma'am. Move that we accept. Yes, ma'am. Move that we accept staff's recommendation.
May I get a second, please?
I second. This is Michael Woodard.
Dr. Woodard, thank you for your second. Is there any discussion?
Vice Chair, I see no discussion.
Thank you. Since there is no discussion, we will proceed to the vote. Germaine Austin, what is your vote?
Yes.
Keith Hasson, what is your vote?
Yes.
Tamara Orange, what is your
Yes.
vote?
Yes.
Dr. Woodard, what is your vote? I'm sorry, Leah Pulliam,
Yes.
what is your vote?
Yes.
Dr. Woodard, your vote is yes?
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Woodard. Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, how do you vote?
Yes.
Perfect. All the votes are in. May we get a tally, please?
Madam Chair, out of 6 possible votes, we have 6 yes votes.
6 yes votes is unanimous to not sustain the allegation of appropriate action required against officers Roshine Keithan as not sustained. Thank you so much. Just a FYI, this case has 5 issues pertaining in the report, so just bear with us as we get through this process. The number 2, the allegation of violation of department standard operating procedures. The issue is the complainant alleged that Officer McKeithen failed to complete a report documenting the incident. Based on the evidence obtained during the investigation, the ACRB staff recommends that the allegation of appropriate action, violation of Department of Standard Operating Procedure, specifically APD SOP number 2060, section 4.9.1 against Officer Roshine McKeithen be assigned a finding of sustained. The investigation established by a preponderance of the evidence that the officer committed the alleged act. May I get a motion to accept or reject staff's recommendation, please?
Vice Chair McDaniel, Board Member Orange is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Orange.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we accept staff recommendation.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Vice Chair, Board Member Hawkins-Wynn is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Hawkins-Wynn.
Second that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Hawkins-Wynn. Is there any discussion?
I see no discussion, Vice Chair.
Perfect. So we will move on to getting the vote. Germaine Austin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Keith Hasson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Tamara Orange, how do you vote?
Yes.
Leah Pulliam, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Michael Woodard, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, how do you vote?
Yes.
Perfect. The votes are in. Is there any discussion?
No discussion, Vice Chair.
Is there no discussion? We will call for the vote. Mike, I'm sorry. May I get the vote tally, please? Sorry about that.
No problem. Madam Chair, out of 6 possible votes, we have 6 yes votes.
Okay, the motion passes that the finding the violation of SOP Department of Standard Operating Procedure against Officer Roshine be a finding of sustained. It shows that the acts did occur. In that case, let's go to the history. Investigator Fleming, will you please provide us with the disciplinary history for Officer Roshine McKeithen, please?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Officer McKeithen has been an APD officer since June 21st, 2018. And based on his disciplinary history and a disciplinary grid, this would be a category A violation, and the penalty range would be an oral admonishment or a written reprimand. The board can also recommend proactive correction training, such as training or counseling.
Okay, thank you, Investigator Fleming. May I get a vote to accept or reject staff's recommendation for discipline, please?
Vice Chair McDaniel, Board Member Orange is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Orange.
I move that Officer Roshine, I can't say his last name.
McKeechin.
McKeithen.
McKeachin, thank you. I move that Officer McKeachin receives a written reprimand
Okay,
in addition to training and document incidents.
okay. Is that training specifically on documenting incidents, or is that a second?
No, that's training in conjunction with the written reprimand. He's getting the written reprimand for failing to document the incident, but he also needs to be trained to make sure. Am I clear? Am I being clear?
Yeah, so you're
Okay.
asking for written reprimand and the training on documenting the incident properly.
Correct.
Is there a second?
Vice Chair, Board Member Pulliam is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Pulliam.
Yes, I would like to second.
Thank you, Board Member Pulliam. Is there any discussion?
I see no discussion, Vice Chair.
Thank you. Since there is no discussion, we're going to go ahead and get into the voting phase. Germaine, the voting phase on the discipline. Germaine Austin, what is your vote, please?
Yes.
Keith Hasson, what is your vote, please?
No.
No. Tamara Orange, how do you vote?
Yes.
Leah Pulliam, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Michael Woodard, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, how do you vote?
No.
All the votes are in. May we get a tally, please?
Madam Chair, out of 6 possible votes, we have 4 yes votes and 2 no votes. The 2 no votes coming from board members Hasson and Hawkins-Wynn.
Thank you so much. The motion passes to recommend a written reprimand and training, SOP training on documenting, properly documenting the incident at the scene against Officer Roshine McKeithen. All right, there is another allegation against Officer McKeithen, allegation of violation of Department Standard Operating Procedure number 2. The investigation determined that Officer McKeithen was working on an extra job at Hyde Kitchen and Cocktails without an APD-approved extra job permit. As per APD Rule SOP number 2060-2060, Section 4.2.1. Therefore, the ACRB staff recommends that the allegation of violation of Department Standard Operating Procedures against Officer Roshine McKeithen be assigned a finding of sustained. The investigation established by a preponderance of the evidence that the officer committed the alleged acts. With that said, may I get a vote, a motion to accept or reject staff's recommendation, please?
Vice Chair McDaniel, Board Member Hawkins-Wynn is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Hawkins-Wynn.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Move that we accept staff's recommendation.
May I get a second, please?
Vice Chair, Board Member Orange is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Orange.
I second.
Thank you, Board Member Orange. Is there any discussion?
Vice Chair, I see no discussion at this time.
If there is no discussion, we will call for the vote. Germaine Austin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Keith Hasson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Tamara Orange, how do you vote?
Yes.
Leah Pulliam, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Michael Woodard, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, how do you vote?
Yes.
Perfect. All the votes are in. May I get a vote tally, please?
Madam Chair, out of 6 possible votes, we have 6 yes votes.
Thank you. With 6 yes votes, the motion passes to sustain the allegation of violating the Department Standard Operating Procedures against Officer Roshine McKeithen. The alleged acts did occur. Is there another history, disciplinary history, or did you provide all of the disciplinary history, Investigator Fleming?
Yes, I did. Based on if the board agrees to all of the sustained allegations, they are all going to be category A's going forward.
Okay, perfect. So with that said, may I get a vote to accept or reject?
I just want to interject, because it's a category A, the board can recommend a written reprimand. Or admonishment or a written reprimand or training and counseling.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I'd like to get a motion on a recommendation as far as discipline for Officer McKeithen.
Vice Chair McDaniel, Board Member Hawkins-Wynn is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Hawkins-Wynn.
Yes, ma'am. Would move that we a written reprimand, kind of consistent with the last allegation, in that it's similar failures to properly draft those reports. So again, a written reprimand, and I think the training earlier would basically coincide, the training that was imposed earlier with the similar training. So a written reprimand in addition to training, as previously noted, proper drafting, properly and accurately drafting.
Okay, is there a second?
Vice Chair, Board Member Orange is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Orange.
I just want to make sure that I'm understanding Board Member Hawkins-Wynn before I make a second to the motion. Now, I thought the allegation that we were voting on was him not having the proper paperwork to be working an extra job.
You're right.
Is that not?
You're right. You're absolutely right. I was kind of disoriented because I'm navigating the phone. You're right. I think the failure to properly draft the police report, and there was one fairly to timely. I'm sorry. Again, we're at Article 3. I'm a little bit disoriented because I'm on the phone. Is it Article 3 or Article 4?
We're on allegation number 3, the allegation of he was working without an extra job permit.
I'm sorry. I'm just yes, that I moved that it's in violation of the SOP, that the punishment should be a written reprimand as well. I'm very sorry. The punishment is a written reprimand on failure to provide an extra job permit. I think I was confusing that somewhat with there's a similar allegation that job permit, but failure to dispatch or report that he was working. So I'm sorry, I was confusing the two, which is the following one. But yes, the recommendation is that of a written reprimand.
Okay, is that a written reprimand? And in addition to that,
on allegation number 3, a written reprimand for failure to provide notice of an extra job permit.
Perfect. Did that clarify things for you, Board Member Orange?
Yes, ma'am. I second that motion.
Okay, any discussion?
I see no discussion, Vice Chair.
Perfect. So we will call for the vote on the disciplinary history on recommended discipline for Officer McKeithen. Beginning with Germaine Austin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Keith Hasson, how do you vote?
Working a second approved job without permission runs the risk of raising conflict of interest issues. So I vote yes.
Thank you. Tamara Orange, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Leah Pulliam, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Woodard, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, how do you vote?
Yes, please.
Thank you so much. The votes are in. May I get a tally, please?
Madam Chair, 6 possible votes. We have 6 yes votes.
The vote passes unanimously, recommending disciplinary history for written reprimand against Officer Roshine McKeithen. Thank y'all so much. The next allegation, allegation number 4, violation of Department Standard Operating Procedure number 3. The investigation determined that Officer McKeithen failed to notify dispatch that he was working on an extra job at the incident location on the dates in question, as per APD SOP number 2060, section 4.2.6. Therefore, the ACRB staff recommends that the allegation of violation of department standard operating procedures against Officer Roshine McKeithen be assigned a finding of sustained. The investigation established by preponderance of the evidence that the officer committed the acts of misconduct. So may I get a vote, a motion to accept or reject staff's recommendation, please?
Vice Chair McDaniel, Board Member Hasson is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Hasson.
Failing to notify dispatch puts the officer's own safety at risk. So I move to accept staff's recommendation.
Thank you, Board Member Hasson. Is there a second?
Vice Chair, Board Member Orange is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Orange.
I second.
Thank you, Board Member Orange. Is there any discussion?
Vice Chair, Board Member Hawkins-Wynn is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Hawkins-Wynn.
I apologize. I failed to lower my hand.
Any further discussion?
Vice Chair, Board Member Hasson's hand is raised.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Hasson.
Sorry, I just failed to lower it.
Thank you, Board Member Hasson.
I see no further discussion at this time.
If there are no further discussion, we will call for the vote. Germaine Austin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Keith Hasson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Orange, how do you vote?
Yes.
Pulliam, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Michael Woodard, what is your vote?
Yes.
Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, how do you vote?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. The votes are in.
I vote.
All in. May I get a tally, please?
Madam Chair, out of 6 possible votes, we have 6 yes votes.
The motion passes unanimously to accept the staff's recommendation for violating department standard operating procedures against Officer Roshine McKeithen. Thank you all so much. Officer, Fleming. So as far as the discipline, same as per usual.
Yes, ma'am. This will be a category A violation and the penalty range will be an oral admonishment, written reprimand, and the board can also recommend training and counseling or counseling.
Thank you. May I get a motion to accept or reject staff's recommendation, please?
Vice Chair, Board Member Hasson is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Hasson.
I move we recommend a written reprimand.
Okay, may I get a second, please?
Vice Chair, Board Member Hawkins-Wynn is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Hawkins-Wynn.
Second.
Thank you so much. Is there any discussion?
Vice Chair, I see no further discussion at this time.
Since there is no discussion, we will call for the vote. Germaine Austin, how do you vote?
Yes. Thanks.
Keith Hasson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Tamara Orange, what is your vote?
Yes.
Leah Pulliam, what is your vote?
Yes.
Dr. Woodard, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, how do you vote?
Yes.
The votes are all in for discipline. May I get a tally, please?
Madam Chair, out of 6 possible votes, we have 6 yes votes.
The motion passes to recommend, to do a written reprimand in regards to Officer McKeithen violating department operating procedures. Okay, let's move to allegation number 5. Violation of department standard operating procedures number 2. The investigation was unable to determine if Officer McKeithen was in violation of APD's body-worn camera policy when he did not activate his BWC at the time he became involved in the physical altercation between the female complainant and the security guard as per APD SOP number 3133, section 4.3.4. Therefore, the ACRB staff recommends that the allegation of violation of the department standard operating procedures against Officer Roshine McKeithen be assigned a finding of not sustained. The investigation failed to prove or disprove that the alleged acts occurred. May I get a vote to accept or reject staff's recommendation, please?
Vice Chair McDaniel, Board Member Hawkins-Wynn is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Gloria Hawkins-Wynn.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Move that we accept staff finding.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Vice Chair, Board Member Hasson is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Hasson.
I've got reservations about this one, y'all, simply because, he didn't tell dispatch where he was. And I think that weighs against him, but we ought to, in he said, she said kind of cases, I suppose we ought to give the benefit of the doubt to the officer. And so I'll second.
Thank you so much. Is there any discussion?
Vice Chair, I see no, I'm sorry. Vice Chair, Board Member Orange is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Orange.
Okay, in dealing with this with the BWC, I thought we had previously established that even when an officer was working an extra job, they were to have their body-worn camera on for the duration of the time that they were working an extra job, because we had established that you never know when you're going to come in contact with somebody in the public. So I thought that was the understanding. The difference with people working extra jobs is they're in a constant duration of dealing with the public, whereas when you're on patrol, you have the option of being in your car and being dispatched to a scene where you can be prepared. So I think that, when we look at the discipline of agreeing with this, we really need to be a little consistent. And we also need to stop with saying that we're going to do the benefit of the doubt. We have to stop saying benefit of the doubt when it comes to these incidents with these officers. That's a bad phrase for us to be doing. We're supposed to be the ones representing the citizens of Atlanta.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Orange. Is there any further discussion?
Vice Chair, Board Member Hawkins-Wynn is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Hawkins-Wynn.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. I agree with Board Member Orange. We did and had previously discussed when an officer is in that kind of off-duty environment, my recollection, and I pray that I'm accurate on this, was that it was only when there was a definitive encounter that would trigger the officer needing the BWC, because they're likely in that environment continuously interacting with people such that unlike an event with an officer in a traffic stop where the event itself is triggering based on the stop, that there's some kind of investigatory stop. But I think, again, if I understood clearly what she was saying, she's actually saying that we had previously discussed this, and in that environment, we don't hold the officer to continuously be, again, activating the BWC. So I think in what we have here, though, is we have a not sustained, which means the weight of the evidence was not holding the officer in violation, if I'm correct.
Yes, is there any further discussion?
Vice Chair, Board Member Pulliam is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Pulliam.
Yes, so with the discussion, I am going to ask this question. Would that then also add another violation of not having his body camera activated at the time?
Thank you, Board Member Pulliam. Any further discussion?
Excuse me, Board Chair, this is Investigator Fleming.
Yes.
I just wanted to interject that it was recommended that it be not sustained because the officer said, I'm sorry, the complainant said that he, of course, got involved, which he did. And when we interviewed the officer said his first mindset was to break up the fight. And after the fact, that then he realized his body-worn camera was not on. And at that time, he cut it on. So basically, there is no evidence to show either way. And then I also want to show that when it says the body-worn camera must be on, in this instance, he was working an extra job. It didn't have to be on all while he was there, but he was required to cut that body-worn camera on, in which he did cut it on, but was it done in a timely manner is the issue. And we weren't able to prove or disprove the allegation.
Thank you so much, Investigator Fleming. Is there any other discussion?
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes, who?
This is Michael Woodard speaking.
Yes, Dr. Woodard.
Basically, the officer is working a second job that he has not filed the appropriate paperwork on, and there's an incident, and his first mind was to break up the fight. I would just think that with the appropriate training that the first mind should have been to document the incident with the body-worn camera. That's just my thinking on this matter.
Thank you so much for your comment, Dr. Woodard. Is there any further discussion?
Vice Chair, Board Member Hawkins-Wynn is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Gloria Hawkins-Wynn.
Yeah, I do accept very well what Investigator Fleming added at last, and that was that it's a timeliness issue, that indeed he did turn it on. The question is whether it was timely activated. So I agree. I agree. I'm so sorry. I agree with the not sustained finding of the board. I think that's evidence that, as Investigator Fleming has explained it, it was really a timeliness issue. He was obligated, but the question is, did the evidence support whether or not it was activated in time?
Thank you, Ms. Wynn. Is there any further discussion?
Vice Chair, I see no further discussion at this time.
Thank you so much. Since there is no further discussion, we will begin the voting process on the discipline recommendation against Officer McKeithen. Germaine Austin, what is your vote?
No, it was not on in a timely manner. Thank you.
Keith Hasson, what is your vote?
Yes.
Orange, how do you vote?
No.
Leah Pulliam, how do you vote?
No.
Dr. Michael Woodard, how do you vote?
No.
Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, how do you vote? Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, is your mic unmuted?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, mine is, yes.
Yes
Are
is
you
your
able to
vote?
hear me?
Gloria, you said yes is your
Yes,
vote,
ma'am.
correct? All right, thank you so
Ma'am,
much.
yes.
All the votes are in. May we get the tally, please?
Madam Chair, out of 6 possible votes, we have 2 yes votes and 4 no votes. The no votes coming from board members Austin, Orange, Pulliam, and Dr. Woodard.
Okay, the motion failed to find Officer McKeithen not sustained for violating department standard operating procedure. Okay. So we will move on to the last allegation, which pertains to,
Madam Chair,
yes,
point of order. I believe we need to entertain a new motion.
okay, perfect. Well, since this failed, we're going to open the floor for a new motion, see if we can get this through. Is there a motion for a new motion, please?
Vice Chair McDaniel, Board Member Orange is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Orange.
I move that the allegation of failing to activate his body worn camera in a timely manner be assigned a finding of sustain.
I second. This is Michael Woodard.
Thank you so much for sustaining that, Dr. Woodard. Is there any further discussion, please?
Vice Chair, Board Member Hasson is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair, Board Member Hasson.
Look, y'all, I sympathize with your position. The guy had not gotten approval from the department to be at the job, and he had not notified dispatch of where he was. And so anything he says about why he did not activate his body worn camera in a timely manner is suspect as a result. Nevertheless, our obligation as a board is to make decisions based on the evidence that's presented to us, as well as on the standard that we are supposed to use when evaluating these cases. And that standard is a preponderance of the evidence standard. The officer in this case has given testimony that his first thought was to go and break up the fight. We do not have any evidence that would suggest that he's lying and that his failure to activate his body worn camera in a timely manner was as a result of negligence on his part, as opposed to dealing with the emergency situation that was presented in front of him. Also, earlier, Board Member Orange said that she felt it should be policy for officers working these second approved jobs to have their body worn cameras on continuously. And while I respect her position, that is not the standard operating procedure of the Atlanta Police Department. The department doesn't require that. And if we're going to recommend that the department change its operating procedure, we need to do that through a separate process other than punishing this officer for a violation that per APD SOP isn't a violation. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Hasson. Is there any further discussion, please?
Vice Chair, Board Member Orange's hand is raised.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Orange.
I do respect what Board Member Hasson has laid out, and I understand it, but I also, in my memory bank, I also thought that that the city of Atlanta, it was my understanding that they had already put that the wearing the body worn camera, even on extra jobs, those were not necessarily in uniform. I thought that that had already been established by the previous chief. If I'm mistaken, and that I, don't mind being corrected on that, just, give me some clarification. But again, him not having the body worn camera on had that incident, and I'm just looking at what if he had not had the camera on the entire time, and if he had not turned it on in a timely manner, something more egregious had taken place, the city of Atlanta would be held liable for whatever had taken place, and he would have been held liable. And that's what I'm looking at. The camera, him having the camera on, would be for his protection as well as the protection for the public.
Thank you so much, Ms. Orange. Any further discussion, please?
Vice
Yes,
Chair, Board
Madam
Member
Chair.
Hawkins-Wynn is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Gloria Hawkins-Wynn.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
ma'am.
can.
I don't know, maybe I may be getting a little lost in the narrative here, but I thought it was pretty simple and straightforward that the board found not sustained, because the question is whether or not he had timely activated the BWC. Understanding in the environment, he did not have to have it. He did not have to have that BWC activated. That's the general principle governing restaurant, or those types of venues where there are people that are constantly moving. But the question is, and I think the finding of the investigative team was that it was not sustained. They could not determine based on the evidence whether he had activated in time. And that is why my position is that it is that the findings are accurate.
Thank you, Ms. Hawkins-Wynn. Is there any further discussion?
Vice Chair, I see no discussion at this time.
Thank you so
Madam
much.
Chair, Michael Woodard here.
Yes, Dr. Woodard.
I think it's important to say that turning on the body-worn camera is not an elaborate process. And just as the officer turned it on when he did with a push of a button, a quick push of a button, he could have and should have pushed it on as he is approaching the conflict. I simply, it's my, that's irrelevant of any previous policy or position that this board has taken. I simply believe that the officer did not
Yes, Dr. Woodard. Thank you so much.
Execute the camera in a timely manner.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for interrupting you, Dr. Woodard. Any further discussion, please?
Vice Chair, I see no further discussion at this time.
Since there is no further discussion, we will go into the vote. The discipline recommendations for Officer McKeithen. Germaine Austin, how do you vote?
I vote yes, sustained. Thank you.
Keith Hasson, how do you vote?
No.
Tamara Orange, how do you vote?
Yes.
Leah Pulliam, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Woodard, what is your vote?
Yes.
Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, what is your vote, please?
Please unmute yourself.
Am I unmuted? Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
My vote is yes. I'm sorry. Manipulating the phone is disastrous. So thank you.
That's okay, Ms. Hawkins-Wynn. Can you put your hand down also, please? The votes are all in. May we get a tally, please?
Madam Chair, out of 6 possible votes, we have 5 yes votes and one no vote, and the no vote coming from board member Hasson.
Yes, the motion passes. Recommend, yes.
Madam Chair.
I can hear you.
Madam
Go
Chair.
ahead.
I rescind that vote. It's a no. I have to apologize profusely. I'm headed to graduation at the Citizens Police Academy, and somehow they got scheduled at the same time. So I'm a little bit really discombobulated. This is graduation
That's
night.
okay, Ms. Hawkins-Wynn. We understand. We're
yeah.
almost at the
But
conclusion.
Absolutely. It was a, again, I voted in favor of the findings of the board, of the staff, but I believe the motion that was on the table was in rejecting the finding of the staff. So my vote is no. my vote is no to the rejection of the finding of the staff.
Okay, staff, do we have to retally that?
Yes, restate the vote, please.
Yes, Madam Chair, out of 6 possible votes, we have 4 yes votes and 2 no votes. The no votes coming from board members Hawkins-Wynn and Hasson.
Okay, thank you so much. The motion passes to recommend to find the allegation against Officer McKeithen for violating SOP as sustained. We're rejecting the staff's recommendation.
Good evening
Board Member
again. This is
Hawkins-Wynn, please
Investigator
lower your
Fleming.
hand. Thank you.
I'm sorry. So since did you have something to offer, Officer Fleming?
Yes, I just want
additional?
to say that based on the officer's disciplinary history and APD's policy, this will be a category C, and that discipline ranges from a 4 to 15-day suspension or demotion, and the board can also recommend training.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We're going to go back and I'm sorry. We sustained that, correct? And so we're going to go into the discipline. That's it for that allegation.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
for the record, the motion was sustained, and now the investigator has provided us again with the disciplinary history. So now we
Okay.
need to take another vote for discipline.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you so much. I'll call for a
Quite
motion
welcome.
to accept or reject staff's recommendation. I'm sorry, discipline for punishment. Can I get a motion, please?
I'd like to.
Yes.
Vice Chair, Board Member Orange is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Orange.
Yes, ma'am. I move that we give Officer McKeithen a 4-day suspension.
Okay, thank you for that. Ms. Orange, is there a second, please?
This is Board Member Michael Woodard. I second.
Thank you, Dr. Woodard. Is there any discussion?
Vice Chair, I see no discussion at this time.
Thank you very much. Hearing no discussion, we will proceed to the vote. The recommended discipline for Officer McKeithen. Germaine Austin, how do you vote?
No on the suspension.
Keith Hasson, how do you vote?
No.
Tamara Orange, how do you vote?
Yes.
Leah Pulliam, how do you vote?
No.
Dr. Woodard, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, what is your vote?
No.
Get the tally, please.
Madam Chair, out of 6 possible votes, we have 2 yes votes.
How are you? I'm
and
headed to
4
the, oh
and 4
yeah.
no votes. The no votes coming from board members Austin, Hasson, Pulliam, and Hawkins-Wynn.
I'm sorry for that. There was some background noise. Would you please repeat that tally for me, please?
Madam Chair, out of 6 possible votes, we have 2 yes votes and 4 no votes. The no votes coming from board members Austin, Hasson, Pulliam, and Hawkins-Wynn.
Failed for the 4-day suspension against Officer McKeithen. Since that motion failed, do we have to do another vote on another discipline?
Yes, yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, perfect. So we're gonna opening up the floor for another motion as far as recommendation for discipline since the 4-day suspension failed.
Vice Chair McDaniel, Board Member Pulliam is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Pulliam.
Yes, I want to propose that he also gets an additional write-up with the others that he received and additional training as far as turning on his camera in a timely manner.
Okay, perfect. Is there a second?
Vice Chair, Board Member Hawkins-Wynn is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Hawkins-Wynn, please.
Second that motion.
Is there any further discussion?
Vice Chair, Board Member Orange is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Orange.
Yes, I think we need to keep in mind that what we vote on as far as the allegation goes should mirror what our discipline recommendation should be. If we were gonna do the recommendation for the written reprimand and the additional training, then we should have just left it at not sustained, because if we're sustaining not activating his body worn camera, that carries a minimal
I'm sorry,
punishment.
there's some background noise that's preventing us from hearing what you're saying, Ms. Orange. Sorry about that. Could you go ahead?
Okay, once we changed our findings as far as the allegation from not sustained to sustained, that changed the category in which the discipline would be. I've never seen an instance where if a minimal discipline was suspension that we went we regressed instead of progress as far as the discipline and giving the individual something lower than what the minimal said. I know it's just a guide. The disciplinary grid is a guide, but I've never seen an instance where we went in the opposite direction. But again, I think, we kind of need to let our punishment reflect what we are saying that the person has been found to have done. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Orange. I really appreciate that. If you're not waiting to
Board
speak, will
Chair,
you
this
please
is
put your hand
Investigator
down? Yes, Investigator
I'm
Fleming.
sorry for interrupting, but I just wanted to note that the board should know that the APD policy states that discipline should be at least 3 days suspension for the first violation, and this is his first violation. And I just want you all to keep that in mind.
Okay, perfect. Any further discussion, please?
Vice Chair, Board Member Hasson is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Hasson.
Tamara is absolutely correct. The violation of a failure to operate your body worn camera when you're supposed to, both for the officer's safety as well as for the safety of the public, is an extremely important matter. And it warrants egregious or severe discipline when an officer has violated it. Now, y'all know, I believe that this officer did not violate it, or at least we don't have enough evidence to find that he violated it, but y'all have found that he did. And maybe the fact that y'all are hesitating to impose a suspension on the man ought to cause you to reevaluate whether you should have found against staff recommendation that he violated the policy. Nonetheless, if we go easy on this guy, having found that he intentionally violated the policy, we're setting a dangerous precedent.
Thank you so much, Board Member Hasson. Is there any further discussion?
Reminder, board members, please lower your hand if you are not prepared to speak. Board Member Hawkins-Wynn's hand is raised.
Vice Chair recognizes Gloria Hawkins-Wynn. Looks like she put her hands down. Any further discussion?
Vice Chair, Board Member Pulliam is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Pulliam.
Yes, I just want to state in recognition of the discussion that I would like to rescind my initial recommendation and have the minimum of 3-day suspension as it follows.
Okay, Board Member Pulliam, let me make sure I understand what you're saying. So initially you said a written reprimand and a body worn camera training. And you said you wanted to amend that?
Yes.
Okay, will you please clarify that one more time?
Yes, I would like to amend what I initially stated for the written reprimand and training to 3-day minimum suspension of 3 days.
So we're changing it to keeping the written reprimand, body worn camera training, and adding the 3-day suspension, correct?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you so much. Is there any further discussion, please?
Vice Chair, I see no further, I'm sorry. Vice Chair, Board Member Hawkins-Wynn is waiting to speak.
Board Member Hawkins-Wynn, go ahead, please. And if you're not waiting to speak, will you put your hand down? Gloria Hawkins-Wynn.
Please unmute yourself, Board Member.
Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, we're waiting for your response.
Madam Chair, for a point of order, I believe we need a second now.
Okay, so we're getting a second on that motion from Ms. Pulliam for written reprimand, body worn camera training in addition to a 3-day suspension. Is there a second,
Correct.
please?
Madam
Vice
Chair,
Chair, Board Member Orange is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Orange.
I second.
Thank you so much, Board Member Orange. Is there all right, we will go ahead. Oh, is there any discussion? I'm sorry.
Vice Chair, Board Member Hawkins-Wynn is waiting to speak.
Yes, Vice Chair recognizes Hawkins-Wynn. Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, are you with us?
Vice Chair, I think she's experiencing some technical
Yes, ma'am. Are
difficulties.
you able to hear me?
Yes,
Are
hear you
yeah, I am
now.
having technical difficulties. Yes,
No
but Madam
worries.
Chair, I think there has to be, point of order, I think there has to be something additional once a motion, was the motion put on the floor, voted on and failed? Was there something additional? It just seems like there was some point of order before it could be removed or a new motion.
Oh, well, it failed.
No.
That's why we're working on a new motion. And
So it did fail, okay.
yes, it did fail.
Okay, by vote it failed. So now I believe Ms. Pulliam has come back and offered a new motion. Is that correct? After
That's
some
correct.
explanation by Ms. Orange?
That's
Okay,
correct.
okay, and her motion, would you please repeat again what her motion is?
The
Ms.
motion
Pulliam?
is a written reprimand, body worn camera training in addition to 3-day suspension. And it was seconded by Ms. Orange.
Madam
Okay.
Chair, point of
Yeah.
order. The
Yes.
motion was amended, to 3-day suspension. That was moved by Ms. Pulliam and it has been seconded already by Ms. Orange. You're at the discussion phase.
Yes. Do you have any further comments,
Okay,
Ms.
very good.
Hawkins-Wynn?
No, very good, good, thank you. I'm clear on it now, thank you.
All right, perfect. Let's move on to the vote. Germaine Austin, what is your vote?
Yes, I do agree. Thank you.
Austin, how do you vote?
No.
Tamara Orange, how do you vote?
Yes. Yes.
Gil Pulliam, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Woodard, what is your vote?
yes.
Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, what is your vote?
No, ma'am.
Tally, please.
Madam Chair, out of
No,
6
ma'am.
possible votes, we have 4 yes votes and 2 no votes. The no votes coming from board members Hasson and Hawkins-Wynn.
Thank you so much. The motion passes that we recommend discipline in regards to a written reprimand, body worn camera training, in addition to a 3-day suspension against Officer McKeithen for his violation of Department of Standard Operating Procedures.
Madam Chair, this is Sheena Robertson. Correction, it is just a 3-day suspension.
I'm sorry, 3-day suspension. I apologize. And the motion passed. All right, y'all, we're getting to the end here. We're going to conclude with our last allegation, which pertains to Officers Christopher Frazier and Officer Harcourt Hasson. The issue is that the complainant alleged that Officers Christopher Frazier and Farquhar Hasson conducted an inadequate investigation into the incident. As it pertains to Officer Frazier, based on the evidence obtained during the investigation, the ACRB staff recommends that the allegation of appropriate action required against Officer Christopher Frazier be assigned a finding of not sustained. The investigation proved by a preponderance of the evidence that the alleged acts occurred. So is there a motion to accept or reject staff's recommendation, please?
Excuse me, the staff recommended sustained.
Yes. Based upon the evidence during the investigation, ACRB staffs recommend that the allegation of appropriate action required against Officer Christopher Frazier be assigned a finding of sustained. The investigation proves that by a preponderance of the evidence that the alleged acts occurred. Thank you so much for that clarification. May I get a motion to accept or reject staff's recommendation, please?
Vice Chair, Board Member Orange is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Orange.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I move that we accept staff recommendation.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Hasson, I'll second.
Thank you, Member Hasson. Is there any discussion?
Vice Chair, I see no discussion.
Is there no discussion? We will proceed with our vote. Germaine Austin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Keith Hasson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Tamara Orange, how do you vote?
Yes.
Leah Pulliam, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Woodard, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, how do you vote?
Yes, please.
Perfect. The votes are all in. May we get a tally, please?
Madam Chair, out of 6 possible votes, we have 6 yes votes.
The motion passes to sustain the allegation of appropriate action required against Officer Christopher Frazier. And we will, Investigator Fleming, do you have any additional discipline that you would like to offer?
Yes, ma'am. Officer Christopher Frazier has been an APD officer
I'm sorry,
since August 22nd.
I'm sorry, Investigator Fleming. There was some feedback. I wasn't hearing you. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You can go
Can you hear me
ahead.
now?
Sorry. Yes, yes.
Okay. Officer Christopher Frazier has been an APD officer since August 22nd, 2019. And based on his disciplinary history and a disciplinary grid, this would be a category A violation. And the penalty range would be an oral admonishment or a written reprimand. And the board may also recommend training and or counseling.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So we will go and vote on the discipline recommendations regarding Officer Frazier. May I get a motion, please, to accept or reject the staff's recommendation?
Vice Chair McDaniel, Board Member Hasson is waiting to speak.
Chair recognizes Board Member Hasson.
It isn't really to accept or reject staff's recommendation, but I move that we recommend an oral admonishment.
Oral admonishment. Thank you so much. Is there a second?
Second.
Was that Germaine Austin that second?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Austin. Is there any discussion, please?
Vice Chair, I see no discussion.
Being there no discussion, we will begin the voting process on voting for the recommendation against Officer Frazier. Germaine Austin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Keith Hasson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Tamara Orange, what is your vote?
Yes.
Leah Pulliam, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Woodard, what is your vote, please?
Yes.
Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, what is your vote?
Yes.
Perfect. All the votes are in. May I get a tally, please?
Madam Chair, out of 6 possible votes, we have 6 yes votes.
The motion passes to sustain the allegation of appropriate reaction against Officer Christopher Frazier.
Madam
All right.
Chair,
Yes.
point of order. The motion was to recommend an oral admonishment for the discipline of the officer.
Yes, by Board Member Hasson.
The motion,
Passed.
yes. But it's to recommend discipline is the point.
Yes, okay. The discipline is the oral admonishment. So the discipline,
Correct.
yes, passed against recommending an oral admonishment against Officer Christopher Frazier.
Right.
Perfect. We will move on to the next allegation. Well, the next officer, as it pertains to Officer Farku Hasson. Based on the evidence obtained during the investigation, the ACRB staff recommends that the allegation of appropriate action required against Officer Harcourt Farku Hasson be assigned a finding of exonerated. The investigation established that the alleged acts occurred but were justified, legal, or properly with department policy. All right, so may I get a motion to either accept or reject staff's recommendation against Officer Farku Hasson?
Vice Chair McDaniel, Board Member Hasson is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Hasson.
Motion to approve staff's recommendation.
Thank you so much, Board Member Hasson. Is there a second?
Vice Chair, Board Member Orange is waiting to speak.
Vice Chair recognizes Board Member Orange.
Second.
Is that a second? Yes, Ms. Orange?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Is there any discussion, please?
Vice Chair, I see no discussion.
Perfect. Since there's no discussion, we will proceed with the vote. Germaine Austin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Hasson, how do you vote?
Yes.
For Orange, what is your vote?
Yes.
Pulliam, what is your vote?
Yes.
Dr. Woodard, what is your vote?
Yes.
Gloria Hawkins-Wynn, what is your vote?
Yes.
Perfect. May we get the tally, please?
Madam Chair, out of 6 possible votes, we have 6 yes votes.
The motion passes to exonerate Officer Harcourt Farku Hasson against the appropriate action required. Perfect. I guess that concludes this segment. Perfect. All right. So we've completed those cases. Thank y'all so much for the patience with the technical difficulties and all the other unforeseen challenges. We've just completed the business of the special call meeting. Remember, this board will have another special call meeting this coming Thursday, January the 27th at 5:30 p.m. And I hope you all will join us again. Tonight, you have witnessed the board conduct the business of the city for whom we took an oath to serve. As always, to the listening audience, please don't forget the public comment line. Call us and let us know how we are doing. Your calls are very important to us, and we look forward to hearing your comments. If you have a comment, the number is 404-546-7848. Once again, 404-546-7848. Our citizens and our new mayor, Andre Dickens, the office I represent, his administration, which President Shipman, along with President Shipman, city council members, and all of our partners, stakeholders, and friends, on behalf of the Atlanta Citizen Review Board and staff, thank you for your ongoing support and encouragement. Now, without any further ado, if we don't have any other business to take care of, I will call for a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, Board Member Hasson is waiting to speak.
Madam Chair recognizes Board Member Hasson.
Thanks, everybody, for your patience with me tonight. These are difficult cases. We're not always going to agree, but I respect all of you and your opinions. I move we adjourn.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you so much. Sounds like Leah Pulliam, is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you very much, y'all. And I want to also say thank you for your patience with me, for helping me get through this process. And I want everyone to have a good night, stay safe and stay well until we see each other on Thursday. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Madam
night.
Chair.
Good
Thank you for
night.
leading us through this.
Yes, great job.
Thank
Thank
you.
y'all.
Thanks, Keith.
Hopefully see y'all soon. Y'all have a good night.